Yeah, welcome to the Hockey's Diversity Panel discussion round on the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. And as our friend Bob Dawson once stated, changing the face of hockey won't change the culture of hockey, but changing the culture of hockey will change the face of hockey, meaning to work proactively in making hockey culture anti-racist. And we are very excited to have current and former players of color from different countries joining us today. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will start off by introducing all participants. We have Jalen Smereck. Jalen is a native of Detroit, Michigan. In October 2016, Jalen signed an entry-level contract with the NHL Arizona Coyotes and played for their affiliate Tucson Roadrunners. And both of his older brothers, Dwayne and Joseph, played hockey while his father Gary coached them. And from the legendary Little Caesars team, Jalen went on to play in the NAHL, in the USHL, and OHL before joining the AHL Roadrunners. And after a short stint in the Ukrainian Hockey League, Jalen is now with the Bietigheim Steelers of the German DEL League. We have Léo Girod, and Léo was born in Havana, Cuba, was raised in Grenoble, France. And after his playing career, Léo went on to coaching. He's participating currently in the NHL Coaches Association BIPOC program as Hockey's Diversity Delegate. And Léo is also currently an assistant coach for SC Bern in Switzerland's top professional league, NLA. We have also with us Colin Ugbekile. And Colin is the son of a Nigerian father and a German mother. He was trained in the Cologne Sharks youth system, and he spent 3 seasons in the USHL. After that, he signed with the Cologne Sharks of the German DEL team, and in 2020, Colin made his debut for the German national team. Bob Dawson. And Bob Dawson was the first black player in the Atlantic Intercollegiate Hockey League in 1967. He made history in 1970 when he played on the line with Darrell Maxwell and Percy Paris to form the first and only all-black line in Canadian university hockey. He's a founding member of the Black Ice Hockey and a Sports Hall of Fame conference in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. He's a contributing senior sports writer for Box Score News. He's the author of the policy paper for anti-racism in Canadian hockey, the initiator of the 125th anniversary of the Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes issued by Canada Post. And Bob was recently honored by the Ottawa Senators for his contribution to make our game inclusive. So I will start with Jalen. Jalen, in an interview with NHL.com, you mentioned, and I quote here what you said, from the time I was 7 until this year, whether it was from a teammate, an opponent, coach, or parents, I've had it pretty much from everywhere. I would go to school and get teased for playing hockey, for being a white boy. And then I'd go to hockey practice and I'd get teased for being black and playing hockey. You know, I'd get asked why I wasn't playing basketball or football. And our question is here, Jalen, how were you able to cope with this at such a young age?
Uh, I mean, I just kind of grew up in a tough place. So as a young kid, you gotta kind of grow tough skin. And you gotta be strong and kind of be able to hold your own. And if you don't, then you could get bullied or other things can happen. So I was just kind of raised to stick up for myself. And pretty shortly after that, I became kind of like a jokester, and I'd crack jokes with my friends and stuff like that. So that kind of helped me a little bit too. I just looked at it all as jokes and kind of try to brush it off as much as I could. I mean, of course, the hockey stuff and the racial slurs hit harder than just the jokes, but at the end of the day, it just took a little bit longer to get over that.
Yeah, and you mentioned there in the OHL, on the OHL where you were playing, there was one particular incident that involved verbal harassment and racial slurs from from a coach and two players of an opposing team. You have brought it to the attention to your GM, but nothing was done. And how disappointing was this experience for you? And how did you handle other racist experiences?
Um, for me, it was just kind of upsetting. Like I was, um, when it happened on the ice, I actually started to, um, I kind of spass out. I was going crazy, like trying to fight, um, and grab the guy and everything. And I actually ended up with a penalty because I was like, so emotional, trying to explain to the ref, like what they said to me. And, the ref is like, oh, well, we didn't hear it, so we can't do anything. Well, if you can't do anything, well, I guess, I guess I have to. And then, and when I went to the GM after the game and, he called the league and the league said basically the same thing. And, the players and, they denied it, of course. So there's really nothing they could do, but, look, look forward in the future.
Yeah,
So that was just kind of hard to take. And, it was kind of like, um, what am I, what's my worth here? Am I like even a part of this league as a player? Do they care about me? Um, as a minority, do they care about minorities at all in this league? And that's just not something that I don't have a history of saying, oh, this guy said this to me and this guy did that. No, like this is a first time thing. And it actually happened my first year too in Oshawa. A guy said something to me and I didn't even hear it. The linesman heard it or something. So he actually ended up getting suspended. And, it was like kind of towards the end of a period. So he got suspended, came out for the next period. And the ref goes like, hey, like, do you know what, I forget what he was, but he asked me like, do you know like this racial slur? Um, and I was like, what? I was like, I don't even know what that means. Like, like, I don't even know what you just said. Like, why would I say that? And, like they tried to like make me, innocent, I mean, guilty as well. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't even know, like, I don't even know what nationality that is. I don't know what that means or what that stands for. Like, why would I say something like that when, I'm a minority myself? Um, so just the 3 years in that league, especially, and, just having three or four different incidents and nothing ever really being done, it was kind of just heartbreaking. But, like I said, I just tried to brush it off and not think about it. After a while, I just kind of try to handle it like Jackie Robinson. You gotta try to be positive about it and try not to let it get you down because once it bothers you and you respond in a bad way, then you're looked at as the problem.
yeah, and I can totally relate to that. And as a Asian playing hockey as sport, was there was so many. First of all, stereotypes that that not only name calling, but I remember in Augsburg, which you are playing in Augsburg. I remember the fans were like screaming and chanting Asian dishes at me, like probably like telling me that someone like you is not part of our game. It's a white sport, making it very clear to me. And also from youth level up to the senior level, I experienced racism, and but I felt like I, once I was done with hockey, I don't want anything to do with the sport anymore.
Right.
But for
Yeah.
some reason, I really impressed by all the experience, despite all the negative experience that you made, Jalen. You've made with hockey, and but you have made it a mission to promote youth hockey in Detroit, in the Detroit neighborhoods, together with your friends Jason McCrimmon and Enrico Phillips. And what do you tell the kids?
For the most part, I just tell them, it's good to try something new, get out of your comfort zone. Because where I grew up, we're only experienced to, I would say 3 or 4 things. That's basketball, football, drugs, and guns and gangs. Which is kind of the same group. So if you don't choose one of those roads, or if you combine two of those roads, that's pretty much your life, and that's pretty much what you see, in our parents, and in our leaders, and everyone that is our role model, or that we look up to, where I come from. So I just want to try to give the kids something different to use as a tool. I tell them, this may not be something that you choose as a career for the rest of your life, like I did. This could just be something, if you're a doctor, a nurse, or whatever the case may be, this is just something you could use as a tool to get away from your career, and, to have some fun, and, get away from life for a little bit, and go skate, and, just enjoy some time with your friends, or, just by yourself. And I think that's my main focus. And I also don't, shy away from the area that, as a minority, and as, African American, for me, it was like, when people ask me why do I play hockey, I said, well, there's usually, growing up as a kid, usually there's 16, 17 other white kids, and, I'm the only black kid. So there, for me, I'm in the spotlight 24/7. And I never been one to shy away from that, or, um, you know, try to hide, not be in the bright lights. I love being on the big stage, and playing in big games and big moments and stuff like that. So I always took that as kind of a chip on my shoulder to kind of stick out even more, and show my tools, and kind of use that to my advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, besides working with the kids in the Detroit neighborhoods, and if you know a little bit of the inner city neighborhoods in Detroit, I think General Motors went away. Yeah, it left a lot of, yeah, social damage there, and in addition to the work that you're doing with Jason McCrimmon and Rico Phillips, you have your own nonprofit work that you do to better your community, and absolutely great in the city that you're living in. Can you tell us about the work that you're doing there, besides the working with the kids?
It's just, me and my buddy just created a nonprofit called a Greater Detroit. It's basically us just giving back to the less fortunate. Just going around the city, is the main thing, trying to feed some hungry people, and just have a conversation with them, take some time out of our day. For the most part, we were doing it every Sunday, just going out with, sandwiches, money, clothes, and different things like that. We sit down for, probably each one of them for 5 to 10 minutes at least, and just chat it up. And it's kind of amazing just to kind of hear their stories, and just kind of see, what they've been through, and kind of learn, a little bit about them. And I tell this story all the time. It was kind of crazy. Like, one of my most, like, one of the most enlightening things to me was, we met this guy. He wasn't near, downtown or anything where, all the sporting events go on. He was kind of like on the west side of Detroit. And we met him, we sat down, and, we're just talking to him, and he goes, "Hey, what time does it say it's gonna rain on your phone?" Uh, how do you even know that? You know what I mean? And it's like, these people don't have a radio. Like, this guy didn't have anything. He's just like, I,
Yeah.
knowledge, I guess. Like, I don't know. Um, so, we told him, like, oh yeah, like, it's supposed to rain midday. We said, like, hey, like, where do you go? He said, oh, I walk like 25 minutes down the street to the Walmart. Sometimes they let me, go under in the back of the building behind the shed or whatever. We're like, wow, man, like, that's pretty far. Like, here's $10. Maybe you can catch the bus, and, take care of yourself, get yourself something to eat. And then he goes, did the Tigers win? We're like, dude, what? Like, how are you keeping up with these things, and you don't have a phone, you don't have a radio, you don't have anything? he's like, oh, I just know, I just memorize it. I see it one time, I memorize it so I can keep up with it. He's like, I love the Tigers, man. And I was like, wow. And till this day, I think about it. You know, I really want to get a chance to just, you know, get the money to just gather a bus and, you know, a big group and, you know, just head downtown and, you know, just enjoy the game with some of these people, man. Like they're really great. Like, you know, and people will brush them off and, you know, say like, hey, you know, this guy's, I'm not giving him money because this guy's going to do that, or this lady's going to go and do that drug or whatever. It's just like, you know, people choose, you know, their lives, and everyone's not perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, you know, and we can all learn from it, you know. So I don't, you know, look down on anyone. I try to help them as much as I can. So, you know, that's one of my goals with my nonprofit is just trying to get that bus and head down to Tiger Stadium and maybe find that guy and, you know, reach out to him and hopefully he gets to see a game.
Wow, this is a great story, Jalen, and yeah, this is very inspirational. The things you're saying, the impact that you're making for the hockey world and also in the community that you're living. And I'm sure, you know, players of color, youth players of color, watching this is it's very important to hear your story, to hear this from you. I will move on to Leo. Leo, you are currently probably the only coach of color in Europe working as an assistant coach in the top Swiss league. And it seems that European top leagues are not responding to changing demographics. And as you know, representation matters. And what, in your opinion, can bring change so we can have a pipeline of coaches of color in the future?
To start with, I want to thank you for giving us the platform to tell our stories. I mean, Jalen's story is incredible. I didn't know about that, and just by listening, I want to do stuff. I want to do stuff, and that's, I think, the most important thing. Just to communicate and try to spread the good word. To answer your question, I think to change the game and having more diversity being benches, or to see just simply in ice rinks. I mean, now in Bern, I've been watching all the games from the stands as I'm the video coach, and in Bern or wherever in the league, it's tough for me to see more than maybe 5 or 6 black people, and not even black people, just diversity. So I think the first point would be to try to make the sport more diverse. What like you're doing, guys, by having more events, trying to involve young players and young kids, girls and boys from different parts of the city, just trying to spread that hockey is for everyone, for real. Something I hear a lot, especially after controversial events, that hockey is for everyone. That's something I have a hard time to really see and feel. That's the first step, I think, trying to create the events. Second step might be just try to highlight as well diversity. I think, as you said it, when you see it, you want to be it. For me, it has been, as I said several times, just seeing all coaches, being a part of the Coaches Association BIPOC program feels fantastic for me. It's such a relief to be around other Black or minority coaches and all in love with the same passion, with the same sport, just making us feel that there's some positiveness around us and future might be bright in the way that that's the thing. My dream is to, at some point, just to face a Black hockey coach, and that it's not even a story. That I don't even see it on NHL.com. That's just like normal. Yeah, okay. Well, there's a guy from Japan in that team, or there's a guy which is a Colombian and Italian playing in that team, and that's just becoming normal. I think it's something that the soccer has been doing pretty well, understanding that even though it's a business, I mean, let's face it, what we see on the ice, it's a product, it's a business. People are paying to watch it. So if you want to have a business, if you want to bring people watching your product, you need to make sure that there's diversity, because it's a demographic. And if you only target one kind of demographic, you will only get one kind of money. And it sounds pretty sad what I'm saying, but if it should be like that for people to watch hockey and be in hockey and think about diversity, they have to think about that. Soccer has been doing it, NBA has been doing it, and now we can see the results.
Absolutely, totally agree with you. Our hope is from Hockey's Diversity that we see you in the near future as head coach, Leo. That would be really a dream for us come
I will
true.
work hard. I will work hard for that.
Yeah. So in the NFL, in the National Football League, there's something like the Rooney Rule. It's called, and the Rooney Rule is for hiring practice among coaching and front office positions that requires teams to interview candidates of color. So people like you have an opportunity to meet, the decision makers of a team before they are hiring a coach or someone in the front office. But the rule is it's kind of controversially discussed because of its effectiveness, because some are saying that they are inviting a person of color or maybe a person like you just to fulfill this requirement, but they don't really consider you as a candidate. But the question is something like the Rooney Rule, or something like a quota fulfillment where where a team must take a certain amount of people or people of color. Would this be a good idea to change our hockey culture faster?
There's two ways to see it. Two ways to see that Rooney Rule. I think that we need to separate in one point what's happening in North America and Europe. Those are two different contexts, especially in hockey. And right now, what we can see that the pool of BIPOC coaches in Europe, even in North America, is very thin. So having this rule in place, I think right now would not be the best decision, because I understand that we want to promote diversity and giving everyone a chance, but I think it could be a good idea, but not the first idea to promote diversity. Because I think some CEOs or GM will feel forced and just get. I mean, now I probably know 15 or 20 BIPOC coaches in Europe. So I would see 20 or 15 BIPOC coaches in Europe having the same interviews, and would be like, yeah, okay, yeah, we know why we're here. We know why we're here. So I don't think it's the best idea right now, especially in Europe. And we can see the controversy in North America in NFL. I think it has been in place since maybe 15 years. I'm not sure. NFL, I don't have the stats on me, but I think it's 70% of the players are black. And I would like to see the stat as well for the benches, who's on the bench and who's the head coach. Is it 70% of black coaches? I'm not sure. Talking once again about soccer, we see the same thing in soccer in Europe and all over the world. There's not too many black coaches. So I think first step would be to, like you're doing, workshops, trying to cultivate and make people understand within themselves that they need diversity. Should not be pushed on them, because if you push something on someone, I don't think they will accept it. I think they will see something a bit negative with that. But if you try to teach them, you will be sure that if you're if you're one of the candidates, there's a why, and the why is pretty positive. It's not because you're just different than the guy from the Ontario who wants to be head coach. So I think, to answer kind of simply, I don't think it's the right move, at least right now. And I don't want to see this happening in the next years, because I might be wrong and you guys might have another opinion. But I kind of see it like, yeah, there's not too many BIPOC coaches in Europe, and I'm not sure CEOs and GMs will see it the right way.
Yes, absolutely. Agree with you, Leo. I think it's slow progress, and unfortunately we have to be a little patient in regards to that. And actually, for myself, I have never seen myself work once I was done with hockey, working for a hockey organization or something like that. Because when I looked around, no one looked like me until as a player. Yes, Jim Peck was there, and two-time Stanley Cup champion with Pittsburgh. But in the front office, behind the bench, no one that resembled my appearance, and so I never really, wasted a thought on something like that. Leo,
Just on that
I
point,
will. Yeah, I will.
one more thing on that point.
Yeah,
No, just that's the thing. We're different compared to the other coaches, players. So I think we should use that difference to stand out. And that's the same thing. It's hardest for us to find a job, maybe, or I don't know, or to get noticed. So I think this is why we should be more visible, trying to meet more people, try to be here in conferences, trying to call and try to do this networking to be known, and as well to learn more, so that when we have an interview, the interviewee has no choice to be like, yeah, he's better. He's better. I'm going to hire the guy. So yeah,
yeah,
that was my last note on the discussion.
absolutely. And Leo, my next question is, as we all know, there were several racist incidences in European hockey leagues. What happened to Jalen in the Ukrainian league? Then we have Derek Joslin in the Austrian hockey league. We have Colin in the German league. Also Senna Colatze in the German hockey league. Basically, our research has shown that in all top European professional leagues, hockey leagues, where players of color have played or are playing, unfortunately, it comes to a racist incidents. It happens either from opponent players or from the stands, and we have seen, unfortunately, very few, I would say, white players have come forward in support, and the players speaking out is so small. And I understand that everyone needs to feel comfortable in the way they expressed this moment. Everyone has its way, but in a way, as I feel like silence is kind of like looking the other way. And how can players, and I mean not only BIPOC players, be encouraged to speak out? And how do you think teammates can better support their teammates that are BIPOC?
It seems like it's a political opinion to be non-racist. It seems like it's like being something that someone else is not, in a political way. This is not. It's just being a good human being to not being racist. That's simple as that. So sometimes when I see people talking on Twitter and expressing their voices on some topics, when uh, your teammate is getting insulted, like you were, Jalen, like I was, and I think you, Colin, being in Germany, and no one is saying anything. It's just normal to be silent and say like, "Oh, it doesn't mean that. I never heard. No, I didn't hear what he said. No, no, I mean not him. I know him. No, it's not racist. It's not him. It's not like that. No, I'm a bit tired of that. I think once again, it's what you're doing, guys. It's super tiring. I really thought that people could do it by themselves, just getting the knowledge, reading books, asking tough questions, being able to have tough conversations. But no, I think at some point leagues should do like what the DL is doing, having meetings, workshops with players. White players should have conversation as well, have tough conversations, because I'm sure I received texts from friends during the Black Lives Matter movement, from friends telling me like, "Hey Leo, I insulted N-word for fun when I was a kid. I don't mean it." And I was like, yeah, I was kind of not saying anything at the time because I was by myself, and you were a friend, and I'm pretty sure that at the time you didn't know what it meant. But now that's cool sending me a text. But please, what should we do next? Tell your friend which has racist opinions to just shut up and get a book and understand that's not okay. So one side, us trying to spread the word and making sure that this is not okay. But I want to see more of them, and the good ones, in the way, it's not a good term maybe, but people having the right opinion and having the right thought in place, just being the police. And because unfortunately, guys, I mean, you've been in locker room and there's chances that one guy is pretty racist. It's sad, but I mean, anytime I'm changing team and I'm going to a new room, I hear stories. When I'm not in the room, I hear stories from guys that like, "I call you like that." And I'm like, okay, well, I'm used to that. It doesn't hurt me anymore, but this is not okay. And you telling me that you heard that, what do? You do something? You say something? No, I kind of smile. Okay, well, you have been worse than that guy. That guy is stupid. He's smart, but well,
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional here. But no, the whole point is that what happened with CJ was very tough for me for several reasons. I mean, Anglet is a team where my dad played. Anglet is a team where I have a lot of friends. Rouen is a team where I have a lot of friends on the bench and in the team. And seeing that the story came out a few days after, I don't know if the story is true or not, but I have a hard time seeing a player inventing all that. And then when you're communicating on a topic online as the club, you're saying that racism is bad and this sucks, and we're all together in that. Great, good. What are the next steps? What do you want to do next to make sure that it will happen? And even if no one said it in your team, it's maybe the perfect occasion for you to just step up and be a leader in that field, in this country, and maybe in Europe, except the DEL and maybe some teams in Sweden and Finland. I never heard about any teams having like a strong opinion on fighting racism.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my answer. Now I just want people to take the phone, the emails, sending emails to Martin saying, "Hey, we need to come in our league and do some work, because even if it's better than 20 years ago, there's still some work to do."
Yeah. And I know, thank you, Leo, for your insights. And I can tell you from our side that we have been branching out now to the UK, to the United Kingdom, especially in England. We're working with the England Ice Hockey Federation. We had discussions with the Norwegian Hockey Federation, and yeah, we are talking with the German Hockey Federation also right now to educate the referees and linesmen, because during my time, the referees clearly heard racial slurs on the ice being yelled at me, but they looked at me and they shrugged their shoulders and said, "That's life." But this is not acceptable in the 21st century anymore. And yeah, thank you again, Leo. We will get back to you later on in our final questions. I will now go to Colin. Yeah, Colin, my first question to you is, yeah, what inspired you to get into hockey? You were born in Solingen. It's not really a hockey city.
Yes, so my sister, she was a figure skater, so I always looked up to her and looked at what she was doing. And right away from the start, I was 2.5 years old. I really wanted to go skate, and I actually managed to get some skates in my size. And yeah, from this point on, I was super passionate about the sport, and I pretty much did every sport there is. I played basketball, I played football, I played baseball, literally everything. But my heart was always just rooting for hockey. So I just went for it. And at this point, I didn't know, like, okay, I don't belong here or anything. I just felt like I loved the sport. So that's why I picked that. And also, my mom has been a hockey fan. So obviously that pushed me too a little bit. But she always was really clear about letting me decide what I want to do. I played all these other sports, and she was saying, well, you pick your sport, and yeah, I went for hockey.
Oh, this is a great story. Thanks, Colin. And yeah, when you grew up as a player of color, was there a player of color, especially that you looked up to growing up? That you were saying this was my childhood idol. Can you talk about what he meant to you, if you had one?
For sure, yeah. My favorite players has always been black players, to be honest. At first, it was PK Subban, and then I went with Evander Kane. It was just, for me, it always was like seeing other players like looking like me, or being black, like seeing them succeed was super inspirational. It showed me kind of that I also like have a spot in this hockey world, and that I do also belong here. And yeah, them paving the way for us was like making me feel more comfortable about being who I am. And yeah, it just showed me that I have a spot here too, and that I belong here.
Yeah, this is great. So that it is, that seeing, what Léo also said before, if you can see it, you can be it. And I can see it here. It was for you, PK Subban, and other players of color. And Colin, the former NHLer Anson Carter once said, "I don't have the ability to hang up my skin color like a pair of shoulder pads and just hang them up at the end of the day and, I can just relax now. It's part of my everyday life. It should be part of everyone's reality." And what were some of the challenges that you had to endure growing up as a player of color in a white sport?
So there's obviously a bunch of examples, and a lot of things happened throughout my whole career, as from starting from a young player to now being an adult. And I can just give like some examples, like my best friend calling me a nigger behind my back, and things like that made me realize that, or let's say it that way. At first, I was never really thinking about that I am different than anybody else, and just being reminded of my skin color and that I'm different than everybody else every day consistently throughout my whole life just kind of made me think, okay, well, I guess I am different, but that's not even like a problem for me being different. I like being different, and I really like who I am, but that took a lot of work to get to this point. And when I was younger, I was always thinking that it's strong if I just ignore it and if I don't care about it. But that started to change for me, because I really started to realize what was actually happening and what's going on in people's minds, and things like that just made me really shook. And another example is where I think the problem starts, obviously, is people that grow up with racist parents. Like, how are they not going to be racist? So I can give you one example. I had a game in Weißwasser, and at this point I'm 12, and that was like my prime time of starting to realize what's going on and that this is actually racism, because before that I was always kind of denying that it is racism, although it clearly was. And so we had a game, and I was always really energetic, so I hit guys and I play hard, and at this young age, people or parents get mad at it because I could hurt their son, just for example. So after the game, we go for a run to cool down. The parents start to throw fruits at me and making monkey noises, and that was a point. I'm 12 years old, and these are adults. They're having kids, and I couldn't really believe it. It's like I didn't really know what was going on, and for me, it was so shameful, because also all my friends are around me, and I kind of felt really alone, and nobody was really like, we're 12 years old, nobody was stepping up for me. I wasn't even stepping up for myself. So I really felt disgraced. Like, it was just a really weird situation for me, because I didn't know how to handle it. Because let's say I freak out and I yell at him, then, like Jalen said earlier, then people look at me like I'm the problem. And that was the same thing. Like, that was just not just in hockey. Like, let's say, like outside of hockey in school, I get bullied a lot for my skin color. People telling me like I'm a monkey and a nigger, and I've heard this word probably a million times in my life. And but not even just that. What is the problem? It's also that pretty much in every situation, somehow they can get back to reminding me of my skin color. And I'm just like, why does that matter for you guys so much? Like, because no matter what's going on, like, let's say we're doing a sprint contest and I'm faster than somebody. Oh, of course he's black. Of course he's faster than me. Those are like things like, okay, yeah, I started to laugh about it at first, because I didn't want to be this one guy that's like super like not funny, or who doesn't accept anything. I didn't want to be like a boo man. But at some point, it's just enough. And I think the people, they don't realize that. They think that I heard it one time at this day because he just said it one time to me, but they don't know that I hear this 20 times because he says it, and another guy says a joke, and then this guy says a joke, and at some point it's just frustrating. And I'm like, what do you like? Why do you guys have to do this all the time? And then other examples is me getting text messages from fans saying like the incident that happened, and just stupid stuff like that, where they're just calling me like a black poser and sending me like death smileys where I didn't do anything to you, I don't know you, where I'm like, okay, this guy really needs some education, and this guy really needs to come out of his thoughts or whatever he's thinking. But that's what I said, where in my opinion the problem starts is parents not parenting their kids right. They're not teaching them what's right and what's wrong, and they're not teaching them like that it's about what's inside of us and not outside of us. And that was the example, that literally the parents were the ones tossing fruits at me. So how are the kids gonna not be racist after that? Because we look up to our parents. And so, and then pretty much every time that it gets really intense, when we're like what I said, that was like the prime time of racist for me, was like when I was 12, 13, 14. Every time I hit a guy or I get into like this little like roughing fights, and I say like, yeah, get away, or like, you suck, and then they want to hurt me. So they know one thing there is, how they can actually hurt me. And that is saying, well, you don't even belong here, or why are you not playing basketball, or you nigger, like stuff like that. And then I'm in a situation, if I punch him now and I freak out, it's me, the black kid, that's doing all the damage here. Like that, I'm the bad guy now. And it was the same thing at school too. Like I said, me getting into arguments with guys because they're calling me things, and at the end of the day, my mom's the one coming to school, picking me up, having to talk to the teachers. And I always kind of felt like I was not being treated fairly. And but I always had it in my mind, but I didn't really want to speak it out, because I felt like, well, maybe I'm exaggerating. And I was always like rethinking about it. And I always thought, well, I'm just gonna, it's going in here, it's going out there. That was like the word that we were always saying, like, oh, just ignore it. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm not gonna ignore this again. And to be honest with you guys, like, this is really uncomfortable. Like, my first step, like talking about stuff like that to like literally anybody, my closest friends, they didn't know about that. My closest friends were making jokes. My closest friends were making jokes about all this stuff. But they were not thinking, oh yeah, he's cool with it. Oh, I can say it, I'm his best friend. Like stuff like that, you know? And it was uncomfortable for me, because I was thinking, well, yeah, I don't want to be the boo man and whatever. But at some point I started, when all this stuff was going on, and I see like, actually, like the stuff that happened to me, yeah, it sucks. It's bad. But what I hear to other people happening, like being killed, being shot, that was the point for me when I was like, the world needs to change, and I want to be a part of the change. And that was the start when I kind of went out of my comfort zone, because to be honest, when I was younger, I was hiding. I wasn't talking about the stuff. I wasn't educating anybody about it. But when I saw all this stuff happening, I was like, okay, like I need to make a change, and I need to address stuff, and I need to educate people, and I need to tell people my story. Like, and it started with my mom and my sister, because they're white. They don't know what I went through. They know some of the stories because my mom, for example, my teacher, she locked me in the door. She locked me into a classroom and didn't let me go home, because, and literally every other kid went home. And she was saying as an excuse, well, somebody needs to pick you up and I can't let you go now. So she's literally locking me into a room. So my mom had to come and they had a talk. And my mom told her, like, I kind of have a feeling that you're racist. And she said, your son will always have problem with his skin color. That was her response on my mom exposing her. So those are the kind of stories my mom kind of, obviously, where she was shook. She's like, wow, like this is actually happening. But I started like telling my mom and my sister stories about what I actually go through on a daily basis and what I went through before. And they couldn't believe it. Like my mom started crying. And it was pretty crazy to see like how white people like just really don't know what we're going through as like a minority. And it was really uncomfortable for me, because I always thought talking about it and like saying like, oh, I went through that and through that, I always thought, oh, maybe it shows weakness, but I don't think that way anymore. And after that I started talking to my friends about this stuff. I said, man, this shit, you can't say this shit anymore. I said, like, I'm not fine with it anymore. This needs to stop here. I said, like, this is no fun. This is no joke. And that's why I'm going against it now. And then once I started telling my friends the stories that I go through, they were also like, man, like, I feel so bad for like making jokes about this stuff, man. I feel so bad for you. And yeah, but I gotta say, like, I feel like we're going towards the right direction, just like the things that you're doing right now, that we're sitting here talking about this, trying to educate people about it. This for me is a good sign. And I really believe and hope that we can change things and just make things better. We already are making things better, that's for sure, because 10 years ago, I was treated way differently, and there was no sense of sensitivity towards me. So yeah, I'm really glad that we all get to make a change or be part of a change and be part of something bigger.
Yeah, thank you, Colin, for giving us such a powerful inside look into what you went through as a player of color, as a person of color, and also for being a change agent for younger generations. I know we have quite a few because of the demographic change in Germany. There's a lot of kids of color playing hockey, and they're definitely looking up and listening to what all three of you had to say here. And I'm now coming to our final questions. It's for everyone, and I start with you, Colin, and continue to Léo and then Jalen. And this is our final question, and the question would be, what would you tell or advise a younger version of yourself starting off in hockey? What would you tell him?
I would tell myself to just embrace myself, like, just be who you are and don't change for anybody, because I feel like when I was younger, I went through a lot of different stages of going through things, because at first I was thinking, oh, like, they're all like that, I need to be like that. So then I started like clothing myself differently. Like, for example, like, I didn't feel the way that I was dressing because I thought I need to dress this way because I need to look appropriate, I need to look like them. So I remember that because I went through like a super hard stage where I was like radically like going, okay, like, I need to change this. So I went with a suit to school because I yeah, I literally put on a suit, and everybody was looking at me still weird, but I was like, well, now I look good, no, right? Now I look appropriate. But yeah, and then I went through different stages, to be honest, where I got mad at them, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna just really be black now. And then I was only hanging out with my black friends because I got mad at everybody, and I was thinking, well, now I'm just gonna do this thing. But if I had to advise something to myself, it's like, be proud of who you are, like, from the start, and don't change for anyone.
Yeah, I will go to Léo. What would you tell your younger self?
I will just quote a few things from what Colin said. I mean, possibly the same thing. I'm sorry about the kid screaming in the back. No, to answer, I think I will tell myself that I need to accept myself. My mom's from Cuba. I'm born in Cuba. My dad is French and white, and he played hockey. So I had to, so many times, just say to my teammates, parents coming, watching games, or anyone else that, hey, that's my dad, that's my dad. And people would not believe me, or they would be like, okay, thinking I would be adopted. No, what saved me in the way is the fact that I had my white friends in hockey and my friends from Africa, my friend Africa outside hockey. And I would just tell myself, Léo, accept who you are and accept that you can have friends from everywhere. Plus, that you can maybe just invite all your friends at some point and try to make them connect. It sounds a very cliche and beautiful in a way, but this is, I think, the best way to, especially early when you're between 8 and 12, this is the best way for everyone to get to know each other and to understand that maybe we don't know about hockey on one side, maybe we don't know about the other cultures, but at the end, we're just kids from 8 to 12. So just like Colin said, just to accept myself and don't try to hide behind something I'm not.
Yeah, thank you, Léo. And Jalen, What would you tell a younger self, to your younger self?
I think for me, it would, kind of be just being more open. I think, the biggest thing for me when I was growing up, going through these things, I was real closed in. I didn't talk about anything. I didn't tell anyone. Usually my parents found out. It was because, the coaches heard it, or one of the other parents heard it on the team, and they ended up telling my parents. But I never actually had this conversation with my parents until, I want to say, my OHL days, I think. And I still didn't really have the conversation with them. It was kind of the case where they found out from, me getting interviewed and kind of finding out through interviews. So yeah, I think for me, it would just be being more open and not being afraid to talk to my parents and tell them, because I was just, thinking as a kid, if I told them, that they might react in a way or take me out of the sport. And I loved hockey. My dad is a Caucasian white guy. So like it was just kind of awkward. I felt to kind of open up and tell him, and just thinking about the way that I thought they would react. I kind of just bottled it all in, and now I'm doing, I'm working with, a just a therapist, just to kind of learn how to open up and communicate all over again, because I've been holding so much in for so long, and now I've finally been broken, with this last incident. And I went through a rough path here over, the past 2 or 3 months. So if I could go back and change that, I think that would be the biggest thing.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I'm for all of your input, and we are now coming to a close for our panel. And I will just say that, thank you for all of your time and bringing your experience and valuable insights in our panel. And be sure that you are shaping an important dialogue in our common goal to make hockey an inclusive place for all. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Yes. And good luck
Thank
to
you,
you,
Martin.
gentlemen.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Bob.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for having us.
I think
Thank you, guys.